And welcome back to the Journey to the FarLands. Alright, looks like I forgot to pick up the crafting table here. Go ahead and get that. Get rid of the extra cobble that we don't really need. Alright, let's bust out of here. Yeah, nice little cozy place on the water here. Alright. And there's the west, and let's head out. Alrighty. Well, starting things off in a traditional fashion. Good morning, Mr. Creeper. Fall off a cliff, will you? Oh, good grief, there's a bunch of them out today. And this guy's in the way. Thank you for the gunpowder. Anyway, as I was starting to say before the creeper kind of interrupted things, the size of the world is currently at 1,960.36 megabytes. Getting close, really close to that 2 gigabyte mark. In fact, with this episode, I'm probably going to cross that point. That's cool. Next goal is to reach 3 gigabytes of world size. And we'll see how long that takes. And let's see. Okay, I did have something of a fail the other day. I started recording, and in fact I recorded the whole episode of Journey to the FarLands. This episode, episode 58 in fact. Was that a spider? I heard a spider. Well. And I went to start editing to actually turn it into a finished episode, and that's when I found out that I wasn't actually recording anything, because when I hit record, you see, my recording was apparently out of sync. When I thought it was not recording, it was. And when I thought it was recording, it wasn't. And this is because I have been doing some recording in recent days using OBS multi-platform because of its ability to have 2 audio tracks, a separate one for the microphone, which allows me to clean up the noise that gets generated in my mic and have the sound come out much better, and so on. And yeah, it doesn't have the wonderful little on-screen feature that Fraps does. Now, Fraps has a thing where it puts a number on screen in the corner that shows you your frames per second. And that number is normally yellow when not recording. And when you hit record, it turns red. So you can see at a glance that you are in fact recording. Zombie, I am not interested in what you have to say about it. Anyway, so I had that whole episode recorded. I got to the end of it and started doing my thing with the editor. Find out that all that time, that whole time, I wasn't recording anything. And on the other hand, when I was not recording at the beginning, you could hear my keyboard clicking as I was typing something, and Yeah, that was really fun and annoying in a really aggravating kind of way. And, I thought long and hard about it, because fixing that the way I would have fixed it before would have meant to go into the save folder and delete the current save at the end of that episode, or that recording session. It wasn't really an episode, was it? And then restore the backup that I make at the beginning of every episode and do it over again. But I was thinking also, I legitimately went that distance. The fact that the recording was a complete, total, utter, absolute fail was not my fault. Not in a really obvious, this is you're the blame kind of thing, but I couldn't help that. I didn't realize it at the time. And so I decided that instead of doing that, I would simply pick up from the end of that episode that went into the bit bucket and continue forward today. And I don't consider it cheating, because it's not like I suddenly grew wings and managed to fly all that distance. I legitimately traveled it. So, there you go. And besides, that way the terrain in front of me is unknown and new as I approach it, which I like it that way, because if I know what it is ahead of time, that's no good. This is the journey, the travel, and so on, is, I admit, yes, definitely the main thing, but at the same time, I didn't feel like losing an episode's worth of progress over something so derpy as this was worth doing. Anyway, enough about that. What else is going on? Well, I could start talking about how aggravated I am over the way Minecraft Enchanting works, but I've probably ranted about that enough already as it is. Suffice it to say that random numbers should not have anything to do with it at all. And I know there are people that disagree with me about that, but I don't think that is right. I really don't. And I'm not going to change my mind. Anyway, I wasn't going to start ranting in about that. Oh, boy. How about that? Anyway, let's see. Well, I did have an interesting, you could call it an eye-opening experience recently. I had an eye doctor appointment. I was referred to the eye doctor as part of this recent visit to the doctor that I had. And so I got into the appointment the other day, and as part of the procedure, he says he needs to dilate my eyes, because part of what he's doing is looking in there, inside the eye, under various colors of light and so on, looking for indications of problems in the eyes, because diabetics can have some vision problems. In days gone by, before there was a whole lot of medical care for it, diabetics would have a habit of going blind, in addition to having a habit of sometimes losing limbs, and so on. So, he goes ahead and he does that. He puts the drops in my eye, and that stings for a few seconds. It's unpleasant, but not too big a deal. And, I'm thinking the whole time while he's doing his examination, the only really majorly unpleasant part of it was the fact that it required him to shine some rather bright light directly into my eye so that he could see what he was looking for. And, that's uncomfortable, unpleasant, and so on, but a necessary part of the thing. And so I go along with that. I do the best I can to hold still and keep my eyes open, or at least let him open them so that he can do what he needs to do. And then when he finishes up, the discomfort is over, it's no big deal, and the whole time I'm thinking about the portrayal of having one's eyes dilated that I have seen in TV and some movies even for a very, very long time. It has always been portrayed in a very almost slapstick manner. It's a really exaggerated, at least I thought, a really exaggerated portrayal of how incredibly light sensitive you become because of that. And it just the portrayal is really exaggerated and big and over the top and all that. And I was thinking to myself, is this what? Oh, come on! Stuck on the sand. Is this this isn't the big deal that it's always been made out to be? So I thought. My opinion changed when I left the eye doctor. When I left, when I was finished there, I wasn't in a position to just simply go straight home and go about the rest of my day, sitting in a nice darkened house where I don't have a whole lot of bright light to deal with, because I don't like bright light anyway. I've always had a problem with bright light. It hurts. So anyway, I had to go out and do a couple of other things, a little bit of errand running, and it was necessary to do that. So I went about doing it. And this was a bright, sunny afternoon. Very bright, very sunny. Not a cloud in the sky. And, oh boy, it was like driving next to the sun. It was like the sun was 5 times bigger than it really is. And, 5 times bigger, 100 times brighter, whatever you want to say. And it was amazing. My eyes didn't want to stay open at all. I'm driving down the street, and my eyes are watering like there was no tomorrow. And they were actually kind of burning because the light was that bright. And I'm like, oh wow. I very nearly had to stop and pull over and stop because of how painfully bright it was. I didn't end up having to, but I was close to it. And, oh, come on. Enough of those water splashies. Or not. I didn't end up having any kind of accidents or major problems like that, but oh man, that was awful. So all I can say is that if somebody should happen to tell you or say to you, let me dilate your eyes, it'll be fun, don't listen to them. Trust me, it won't be fun. I mean, it's not earth-shakingly the end of the world or anything, but if you have to have that done on a time when you have no choice but to be out in bright sun afterwards, yeah, that's something you really kind of want to avoid. Oh, yeah. And I'm hoping that it's a very, very long time before he ever has to do that kind of thing again. That's the first time that's ever been done to me. And I suppose in a way that I can probably expect that it won't be the last, but yeah, not looking forward to repeat performances. Oh boy. On the subject of medical type things, with recently getting my prescriptions going again and all that, I ran into something else. Child-proof caps. I suppose I understand the need for them. You know, you don't want kids being able to get into medicines and so on and so forth. That's a bad thing. You don't want that. But what's really annoying is that child-proof caps seem to be such that children can open them easier than the adults that need them. That need the medicines in the containers, that is. I have found that I have a really hard time opening those things anymore. A few years ago it wasn't such a big deal, but I've lost a lot of the strength in my hands in the last few years. And so opening child-proof caps is not nearly so easy as they portray it to be. You know, it's portrayed to be, you know, this is no big deal. An adult can open these. A kid is going to have a really hard time. Yeah? Well, I guess I'm a kid at heart. I have a really hard time. It took me 10 minutes to open one of them. It was very tempting to just smash the bottle on the counter and put the pills in something else. And I think the only reason I didn't decide to do that is that I knew that if I did that, they'd go flying. And I'd probably never find all of them. Yeah, so there's that. You know, I gotta watch out. If I'm not careful, I'm going to have a whole episode of complaining about this or that, and that's not good. It's not entertaining. It's not funny. It's not even remotely positive. And I prefer to be positive. I really do. And I know somebody out there just heard me say that and went, yeah, right. Sure you do. Well, I suppose I can't blame people for thinking that when I end up doing a lot of complaining about things, but whatever. Positive things going on. I have a big project going on in my single-player vanilla Minecraft world. The first world, as I call it sometimes. I've started work on building Tango Tech's Iron Foundry. And that has been a massive project, because it's a massive build, really. You know, it's not all that complicated. It's not very difficult to do or anything like that, but it's big. It is really, really big. I mean, I spent a couple of days, real-time days, working off camera, just farming up, working tree farms and whatnot, farming up the necessary wood, because part of building that particular iron farm design requires placing no less than 968 doors. And 968 doors sounds like a lot, and it is. And then when you figure that, when you go to figure it out, you realize that 968 doors means multiply that by 6 to get the number of planks needed to make those doors. And then you take that number and go ahead and divide it by 4, and that gives you the number of logs needed to produce that many planks and doors and so on. And then that's how many logs. And I did the math for it, and between making 968 doors and making an insane number of chests to store the iron that's going to come out of that thing, and making all the hoppers that I'm going to need to be moving material around and so on from one place to another and getting it all where it needs to go, I'm looking at a grand total of 44 stacks of logs to get all of that made. Yeah. And 13 stacks of iron in order to build the hoppers. Yeah. It's gonna be quite a bit. And that's if I've done the math right on all of that. I think I have. I did it a couple of times. And when you do the math 2 or 3 times and get the same result every time, it's probably right. Anyway, working on that in the main world for a while. There's been several episodes where I'm working on things related to it, getting things in place, getting villagers moved in and into a villager breeding setup, and then breeding the villagers and getting those moved into the farm itself. And yeah, there has been some moments of hilarity involving the villagers. Frustrating, yet even I think it's funny to watch. Wasn't so funny when it was happening, but it's funny to watch, yeah. Let's see, that looks like the water goes on for a ways off there, so how about I break out a boat and see if I can actually get some good mileage out of it. Alright, here we go. Excuse me. I try to emergency mute before I do that. Anyway, in other news, let's see. Oh yes, I have someone to thank. I have to give thanks to a Mr. Ghost of Sabotage, because recently he gifted me with a copy of Ark Survival Evolved, which I have found to be the most interesting sort of game. And it looks like I am pretty much going to be making more boats right away. And you know, I was kind of a little surprised by that game, because I've done some reading on it, especially after receiving the news. You see, I just stopped to make boats so that I could use one. And then I didn't. Ugh. Aggravating yourself much? here we go. Now we're doing it right. And that terrain is doing it right too. Look at that. That is cool. Really cool. Cruel? No, cool. Anyway. Ark did surprise me because I spent some time reading up on it, and I was kind of not really expecting it to perform very well, frames per second wise and in-game lag wise and so on, because I saw lots and lots of reports about people getting 15 and 20 frames per second and laggy performance and so on. And then when I got in-game, I found that apparently they've done a certain amount of optimization. Perhaps not all of it, because it's still an early access game. But I found that I was getting a very good frame rate. Okay, it's kind of a little shaky in the first few minutes after you start up and get in game, but after that I noticed that I was getting a good 50 to 80 or more frames per second, which is really quite good. And then I started up Fraps and I did a test recording and found that even when recording, I was still averaging in the neighborhood of 30 to 50 frames per second. Not bad for a pretty much ancient GTX 560 Ti. Not bad at all. And so, after having spent some time reading up on the game and watching some video and checking out the wiki and so on and so forth for it, I decided that I'm very likely going to do another testing the waters video to see how well received it would be. And I seem to have walked myself into a bad place here. This really wants to be a precipice of some kind. Okay. There we go. A little bit of treading water and we're out of all of that. Anyway, so I'm going to do a introductory testing the waters video, see how the response is for it, and so on. I have been playing a little bit, and I think I have figured out how to, or if not the way, then a way to survive the first few days without getting quite as killed as often and losing everything and pretty much finding yourself at the point of having to pretty much start over in game because you can't find where you've been or where you were before and so on. I think I've pretty much got that figured out. In a game I was playing the other day, I actually managed to go like 3 in-game days without getting eaten by something. And I consider that to be a major step. I went 3 days without getting eaten. And trust me, before that, I had been eaten by just about everything in-game that can eat you. And there are a number of things in that game that can eat you. From velociraptors to Tyrannosaurus Rex, and everything in between. Yeah, this is like Jurassic Park gone wild or something. I keep expecting to hear quotes from Jeff Goldblum in the Jurassic Park movies. It's just, I really keep expecting it. And I don't think that's going to go away. Because every time I see dinosaurs, I think Jurassic Park, and Jeff Goldblum, and so on. And that was a good movie series, and actually quite funny. Alright. I guess I can get over that way by the time the sun hits the horizon. Anywho, so I'm going to be probably recording that ARC video later today and getting that uploaded onto the gaming channel tonight or tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes. Test the waters, see what the response is on it, and how people are receiving it. Oh, come on, I didn't do that. Oh. You believe that? I just put a boat where I needed to have my bed. I don't believe I did that. Alright. So, I didn't. Nothing to see here. Move along. Alright. It does mean I'm going to need more boats. Yeah. And looks like I need to be hunting up more logs sometime soon too. Come on. Move along here. You can do it. There we go. Yeah. So. And yes, for those that are thinking it, yes, Space Engineers is continuing as well. I do expect to be doing more Space Engineers live streaming, and I might even put together another episode for another video of Space Engineers. It seemed like the response was kind of iffy at first, but it does seem to have improved over time since that first day of the video being up. So I'm probably going to give it a shot. Maybe one per week or something like that. Have it out there and not try to go super crazy with it. And if ARC is well received, it will probably get similar kind of treatment. I figure I might as well. And, the things that I enjoy doing, I enjoy playing them, and if I'm enjoying doing it, I might as well be recording video. And going along with that, if viewers will enjoy watching. Alright, there we go. Okay, so We're proceeding onward here in the ever-continuing quest to continue traveling westward. Looking at all the cool new terrain that comes along, especially when you see some really out of this world stuff. It looks like we have a mountainside that's kind of merging into desert over there. And I'm glad it's in front of me because I want to take a closer look. Sort of a desert beach, almost, with sheer cliffs. And traveling around the long way to get there without breaking your neck. All right. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this has the look of an epic sort of desert with beaches. Epic oceanfront desert. There you go. Oh yeah. Loving that scenery. That is great. Yep, that right there. That's a thumbnail. That looks great. And now it will be preserved forever in the form of an episode thumbnail. Alright, and yeah, some floaty looking something over there. Okay, no, it's not. It is actually attached to something, but the attachment didn't render right away. Alright. Not so bad. Looking great still. One of these really large, ongoing for a long time epic deserts. Sheer cliff with a desert overhang, and let's not forget floating sand. Yeah. Some of that over there is sandstone under the sand, but there are a number of bits of sand that are just floating there waiting for a block update to send them crashing. Alright. Okay, well. Okay, looks like we're going away from the desert, which is a good thing because I need to start keeping an eye out for suitable end of the episode hidey hole type places. And how about if I actually cut a few logs, a few of the logs that I said I needed to cut some time ago now. I have like a stack of wool. I don't need any more of that, but the log situation wasn't looking so great. And I've been walking past tree after tree without getting out my axe. Well, that's better, half a stack. Won't hurt to cut a few more though. Here we go. Especially when I go through a lot of boats like I've managed to do today, including wasting at least one. All right. There we go. That's better. 42 is a good number. We can continue and go on with 42. Because that does kind of seem like an answer. On the other hand, evil spy chickens must be executed on sight. Because they are evil and disgusting. And yes, they are foul. That's right, I said it. Chickens are disgusting and foul. Yeah, I did it. Oh well. Alright. Looks like I have a decent place to dig in right here. Okay. Yeah. Well, here we go. Ending another episode. Digging another hidey hole. Having progressed another 4 days closer to the FarLands. Will we get there? I don't know. It's more about the journey, as someone once said wisely. And it's an epic, cool journey. Okay. All right, pop that down there. I think I should make at least a couple of more boats. Get rid of the extra cobble that I don't need. Get the feathers. I don't need those. All right. Pick this thing up. Let's see. Go ahead and get rid of those. Okay, there we go. Anyway, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here.